Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a lap guide for the new lap time challenge taking place at Deep Forest Raceway in Revrese with the DMC DeLorean. So to access this lap time challenge, go on over to sport mode, so make sure you have menu book number 9 completed so you can access this mode. And you'll see me click on sport mode in just a moment. There we go. Click on the on time challenge, which is towards the middle of the screen, and you'll see the current lap time challenges being held. So this lap time challenge goes on until the end of May 7, 2025, where we're in a stock DeLorean on the sports hard tires. And no, you cannot tune your car. And your goal is to get within the 3% time range of the world record time when the event ends, as that is when your lap time gets counted. And hopefully you'll be able to get the 2 million credits. Now I do have my in-game replay in the description down below if you want to check that out, but first let's go through a couple things. The first thing is, when you're starting your new lap, you can go wide on the final turn. That way you can go for a late apex and give yourself a little more speed to get a slightly faster start to your new lap. Another thing is that you want to shift when the shift bar is halfway full, so around 6,250 RPM. If you try to rev it out, your car will lose power, which means you're going to go slower. And last thing, this car is a rear engine rear-wheel drive, so this car can step up a little bit on some turns, but you can use that to your advantage to get the car to rotate quickly through some of these turns. Now bring yourself towards the right, because after you pass this first bollard that you definitely should not hit, you want to start to turn in. And as you start to turning in, you want to gradually start to ease off of the throttle to let the car turn in a bit more. However, be careful about these two bars on the left, because if you hit them, your lap time will get invalidated. Stay towards the left because you're braking at the 125 meter mark, and you want to gradually start to apply full braking power. Don't be too sudden because you're most likely turning, and if you brake hard out of nowhere, the car might lose control. So gradually apply full braking power, go down to second gear and turn in when the curb on the left ends. And as you start to turn in, ease off of the brakes, so you'll be doing a bit of trail braking. And you can even see that I coast for a moment, so no braking, no throttle input to let the car turn in a bit more. And as you hit the apex, start to apply the throttle, and you can use the red and white curves as part of track limits. And be careful about getting back on the throttle too early, because sometimes you can get some pretty nasty understeer where the car doesn't want to turn. And also, I'm going to throw up the sector times on the bottom right hand corner of the screen if you want to check it out as I do the lap. Now bring yourself towards the left, and there's a couple braking points you can use. Use whichever one is easier for you to spot. The end of the tunnel, the yellow barriers on the left, or before the curbs on the left start. So I brake right here. I like to use the end of the tunnel as that one's really easy to spot. Use all of your braking power and brake in a straight line. Go down to third gear as you're slowing down. Then turn in when the curb on the left is just about to end, and go down to second gear. And as you start to ease off of the brakes and turn in, the rear of the car is going to step out a bit, but you can use that to your advantage to help the car turn in a bit more. And as soon as you're about to point towards the ambulance, that is where you can start to get back on the throttle. So with the car stepping out a bit, that'll help you get around the turn a little faster. And if you time it just right, you can get really close to the wall on the left. Yeah, I was playing it a bit risky, but luckily it ended up working out. But anyways, when the curb on the left is just about to end, you can start to turn in, but don't turn in too sharply. You want to gradually turn on in, because the apex is a bit late, which is about here. And you want to apex right here because you're going to straight line it through here, and there are two bollards that you want to avoid. You do want to get close to them, but just don't hit them. Now open up a little bit by going a little bit to the left, then bring yourself towards the right for your next braking point, and you're braking before you enter this tunnel. Use all of your braking power and go down to second gear. Now you're going to turn in before the tunnel ends, which is right about here, and when I start to ease off of the brakes and turn in, the rear of the car is going to step out a bit, But again, I'm going to use that to help this car turn in a bit quicker so I can get back on the throttle. And it's right around here where I start to fully accelerate my way out, so pretty much where the big patch of light is, or where the shadow ends, that's where I start to accelerate. And stay on second gear, do not go up to third gear just yet. And you're going to brake before the curb on the right end, so before the tunnel ends. Use 75% of your braking power for a brief moment and use the curb on the right to turn on in. So the car will step out a little bit right here and quickly get back on the throttle. Shift up to third gear and be careful about these black curbs on the right, because if you hit them, that can cause the car to bounce and it'll completely mess up your line as you go through this section of the track. Now there's, I wouldn't call it a mini gutter that is on the left. So if you hook your left wheels on the left side of this curb on the left, it'll kind of quote unquote gutter the car just a little bit and help you turn it just a little better. Now final braking point is where the barrier on the left is just about to start. Use all of your braking power and turn in once you reach the 50-meter board. And note that I'm not on second gear just yet, because once I go down to second gear and start to ease off of the brakes, the rear of the car is going to step out a little bit, and I'm going to use that to my advantage to let the car rotate a little bit better. And it's going to be right around here where I start to gradually get back on the throttle. Don't be too aggressive because you don't want to understeer onto the grass. You just want to be nice and gradual, getting back on the throttle to get a clean exit and finish your lap. So let's go through this again, but this time I will not stop the video. Alright, so here we go. So this is in chase cam, but I'm not going to stop the video. So as I'm getting ready to start the new lap, I'm going to go a bit wide and give myself a later apex so I can get a slightly faster start to the new lap. And it's especially important to get a good exit out of the final turn, because even getting a slightly slower exit can cost you up to 1/10 of a second. Now don't forget to shift up when the shift bar is halfway full, so around 6,250 RPM. Avoid the bollards on the right and on the left respectively, and lift off our throttle as you go towards the left. Brake at the 125-meter mark, go down to second gear, lift off of the brakes as you're turning in, so doing a bit of trail braking, and you can use the red and white curves as part of your track limits. And once again, shift up when the shift bar is around halfway full, because if you try to rev it out, the power is going to drop and that's going to cost you time. Now stick close to the wall on the left, then stick close to the wall on the right, then bring yourself towards the left, brake just after the tunnel ends, go down to third gear, go down to second gear. The car will step out a bit as you ease off of the brakes, but you can use that to your advantage to let the car turn in a bit more and get a faster exit out of the turn. Follow through here, apex right here, so you don't hit these bars on the left. Brake before the tunnel starts, turn in before the tunnel ends, down to second gear, and as you ease off of the brakes, the car will step out a bit, but you can use that to your advantage. Brake before the tunnel ends, and again the car is going to step out a little bit, but it's very controllable, and you want to be nice and careful getting back on the throttle. Final braking zone, bring yourself towards the left, brake when the yellow barrier on the left starts, down to third gear, down to second gear. The car steps out a bit, but it's very controllable, a little bit of sliding. Nice and careful getting back on the throttle so you don't understeer off onto the grass. And we'll go ahead and go through this one more time, but this time we will be in bumper cam. So let's go ahead and switch over to that camera. So one more time, gonna go a bit wide on the final turn to give myself a much better exit and shave off just a little bit more time that way. So compared to a mediocre exit, that can cost you up to 1/10 of a second, which is why you want to get a good exit as you're getting ready to start your new lap. And don't forget to shift up when the shift bar is halfway full, because if you rev it out, you'll lose power and that will cost you time. Now avoid the bollard on the right and on the left respectively as you turn in towards the left. Ease off of the throttle, then brake at the 125-meter mark, down to third gear, down to second, ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, so doing a bit of trail braking, take advantage of the red and white curves as they are still within track limits. Now once this baby reaches 88 miles an hour, unfortunately nothing is going to happen because this car does not have the flux capacitor, so that's a slightly awkward moment. But anyways, bring yourself towards the left side of the track, brake just after the tunnel ends, go down to third gear, go down to second gear, and when you turn in and ease off the brakes, the car will step out a bit, but you can use that to your advantage to help the car rotate a bit better and get a faster exit out of some of these turns. Late apex through here because you don't want to hit those bollards. Then bring yourself towards the right, brake before the tunnel starts, go down to second gear, turn in before the tunnel ends. The car will step out a little bit, but again, use that to your advantage. Brake before the tunnel ends. Once again, the car will step out again. But again, use that to your advantage to let the car turn in a bit more, and you'll get a faster exit out of some of these turns. And that's going to happen one more time as we reach the final braking zone. Brake as the barrier on the left starts. Down to second gear, car steps out a little bit. Gradually get back on the throttle so you don't understeer onto the grass. And with that, eventually once we cross the start finish line, I'm going to get a 147.871. So hopefully this lap kit helps you out. But that is all from me. If you like this video, you can press a like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. But that's all from me. This is Mr. MCA, and I'll see you in the next video.